Hello, folks. So, welcome again to Suxpin's DevOps and Cloud. So, today I'm going to be showing us a very simple concept. Sometimes you um, you are working on, let's say, a VM machine, maybe in this case, an EC2 machine that is being hosted in the cloud, let's say in AWS cloud. You have a server, you have a server that you are working on, and you have your IDE, let's say maybe your Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code, or maybe IntelliJ, or whichever IDE that you are using. And you find out that sometimes when you must maybe you have connected you have SSH into your virtual machine through a terminal. Let's assume you use regular terminal, maybe you use your PuDI, or you use when you use any kind of terminal. And now that means you have about three um, points of contact. You have your server, you have the terminal, and you have your IDE separately. And sometimes you find out that you have to be going forth and back, trying to working, on these tools. So what I've come to realize that some folks don't realize that you can actually use your um, your terminal in this case, like I will be showing you in this example, um, your VS Code, to SSH into your Linux machine, as the case may be. So in this case, you'll be able to have your terminal and your IDE at this, on the same screen, and it make your life a lot more easier. So in this video, I'll be showing you how you can use your VS Code to SSH into your virtual machine, into your Linux virtual machine. So let's jump right on it. So you must have, in this case, you must have um, a running EC2 machine. So in this case, I have hosted one machine, Amazon Linux machine, in the AWS cloud, as you can see on my screen here, and I name it Amazon Linux Server. So if you click on it, you can see it's running, and the status check is fine. So if you click on it, you can see the properties of the machine. It is important to let you know that while I was configuring this machine, I made sure that SSH on point 22 is allowed, and also this machine must have um, a key pair. I wanted to show you. Yeah, you can see my key pair right here. So once again, the machine must have SSH allowed and must have a key pair. So how can we SSH from our VS Code into this machine? So let's jump right there. So now I'm going to bring up my um, VS Code. So here's my VS Code. And how can I SSH into it? So if you go right down towards the bottom left, you'll see an icon that shows a terminal. This green icon right down there. So that is the where you can use to SSH. That's actually showing you that's the terminal. So when you click on it, then you have to go to connect host. If you click on connect host, and if you already have some existing machine, you're going to have a list of them here. Like I already have an Amazon Linux machine here, but let's assume I don't, I want to give it a different name. I can actually name it. So, okay, let me call this one Amazon Linux, Amazon Linux 2. I'm going to call it Amazon Linux 2. So when you have this, you type in the name you want to give to your machine for the purpose of this connection. This name can be anything. It doesn't have to do with your machine. So you click enter. When you click enter, it's going to open. Oh, sorry. This is not the case. So I'm sorry. This is so I'll just take this again. So when you click on this terminal, you go to connect host, and you go to add new host, okay? Because I already have an existing one, but in this case, I want to add a new host. And I want to call this Amazon Linux 2. And when you press enter, then you select configure, SSH configure. You can see this one, the one inside um, the user's file or the user's folder. So when you click on it, then it's going to open another window here that will allow you to provide those information that are needed to connect to your virtual machine. So you click on open configuration. And so you're going to have a list of all existing configuration that you have given before. In this case, this is the one I had connected before for a different demo, and this is the newly one I've just added. So you now need to add those information that are needed for you to connect to this machine. You need three important information. The host name, in this case, you have the host. Like I told you, the host can be anything. But the host name has to be the name you got from your um, Amazon Linux on the AWS server, on the AWS cloud. That will be your public DNS address. That will be the host name. Then after that, you now have what we call identity file. The identity file is the key pair of the Linux machine. And this key pair has to be the full part of where the key pair is located on your local machine. And then the last thing is the username of the machine. So we're going to do that right away. So I'm going to go to my machine again. And for the ID, I'm going to take the public IP DNS, IP4 DNS. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my VS Code, and I'm going to place it right here. And then you have what we call the identity file. If you have some extension, you can see if you have some extension already installed on your VS Code, you're going to have this autocomplete, uh, autocomplete or IntelliSense capability. So what I want here is identity file. Like I said, identity file is the full part of your key pair. And if you remember, in my machine, I told you that my key pair is in the my default key pair. That is the name of my key pair. That is the name of my key pair. So I'm going to go to where this key is located on my machine. And this is the part where it's located. I think I really know it. It's located in my downloads folder. So let me show you what that is. This is the folder. This is the download. And I'm going to be looking for don't forget the name. This is the name here. Let me show you once again. This is the name of the key pair, my default key pair. That is the name. So that is what I'm going to be looking for in my download folder. So I'll scroll down. I can actually search for it, but since I know where it is, I'll just go straight down there. And let me just show you my default key pair. And then where is it? I think it should be somewhere. My default key pair. I'm sorry, I think it's somewhere. Should be somewhere around my default key pair. Let me search, maybe I can get it. My default. I can find it. My default. Okay, it's right here. If you look at it, this is it. My default key pair, and it's inside my download folder. It's inside my download folder. So if you just go into the address, oh my god. So into my default key pair, you see it here? This is it. So that is you can see that is the key. So So that I'm going to be taking this part. You can see the part right here. I will just copy that part and go back to the VS Code and put it. Just paste it. So this is the part where the SSH terminal will be looking for the connection. And the last thing is the username. I'll just go to use the autocomplete. And this username is peculiar to the machine you are using. If you are using an Ubuntu Linux machine, the username is Ubuntu. And if you are using Amazon Linux machine, the username is EC2. So now that you have all this completed, all you now need to do is to go back to the terminal, click on the terminal, click on go to host. Then the name of your machine is what? Amazon Linux 2. You click on it, and it's going to attempt to connect. It's asking you select Linux, and boom, here you are. Now you are connected to your EC2 machine, and then you can do